So hey all, um, in writing news, I guess all I can really report right now, because the last couple of weeks have been a little busier than anticipated, is that I am working on a short story. Um, it's linked to the Sunset's Edge universe, and right now it's still very much a work in progress. It's not really intended to be too long, but what I'm trying to do is get into the habit of having a short project to work on for a little bit every day and see if that kind of helps with getting, I guess, confidence up, getting things steady, and producing something and just not worrying so much about making sure that it's perfect or whatever the case may be. I'm hoping it helps and also provides, like, something coming out every once in a while, so that uh, I don't feel like I never release anything, which right now I kind of feel that sometimes, because a lot of things I'm working on are big projects and they take a lot more time and before any of you guys see anything, not to least of which because I'm partially hesitant to show off things when they're in intermediate stages, because things can change, especially with me. And although I think of myself as an outliner, sometimes I'll be following my outline and I'll hit something that seems like it doesn't quite track given what I've written. I don't know. Uh, I'm sure it's something I can overcome. It's something I need to overcome, and we'll work on it. But one thing I'm trying to do is, keep myself busy, keep myself active, and sort of rearrange, I guess, some things. But hopefully, with some of the things I'm doing, it'll be a little bit more organized and a little bit more productive, and it's probably better than I think it is. I tend to be pretty harsh on some of the things I do. And I know I probably shouldn't be, but it's kind of one of those things that's I guess just hard to unprogram. But in video news, I am working on 3 book reviews today, as well as a video outlining my new car, which I will talk about next. Um, 2 of them are Star Trek books, and I think one's a Firefly. I've got a Star Trek book coming up, which I guess I'll talk about a little later, and some other books in the pipeline, because also what I'm hoping to do with that is, it's all about, I guess, at least for me anyway, getting into a sustainable routine that I feel like I'm making progress, and then it's a lot easier to do these things and to make myself do these things and to not make them feel like obligations or failures on my part or things like that. And maybe that's something, that's maybe a character flaw of mine, but it's proven that if I can get it to the right place, I can do it, because I've published a novel before. I have. I know I can do it again. I just have to figure out exactly how to get into the right uh, level of productivity that I can stay focused and happy and not anxious about what I'm writing next, or how well it's going to fit into the universe, or how well it's going to turn out, or just even when it's time to sit down and write, to get rid of that whole nervous feeling. Um, maybe even eventually get back into streaming or narrating for the Voice of Dog, because there's a lot of things I want to do. It's just getting into the right healthy mindset for me. But I can say that it's worked with 2 of the things that sometimes were hard for me. It's like producing videos. There was a time when I was terrified of producing videos, of actually having my face out there, of I don't know, of just sitting down to do this stuff. But now, when it's routine, when it's something I work on a semi-regular basis, it's not that hard. It's a matter of just working on it, keeping it going, make it part of the routine, and eventually that confidence builds, and things get easier. And as long as I just keep working at it, and I'm trying to find ways to circumvent some of that. But it's like reading. I love to read, and it's like, but sometimes it gets hard, particularly when I read some people's work, and it just kind of reinforces the idea that I'm still not doing so well in some areas sometimes. I mean, if I'm doing well, it doesn't enter into my brain, but if I'm not doing well, it's one of those things that, like, confirmation bias just kind of makes it worse. And it's not anyone's fault. It's my my hang up, I know. But I can say insofar as that goes that with the book reviews, it ties into that stuff, because with the book reviews, doing the book reviews has helped because it keeps me reading. It keeps me interested in the source material. I pick books that I think I'm going to like, both furry and Star Trek and everything else. And I just kind of do it because I want to do it, because it's something that I can produce, that I can show off to the world, that I can be happy about working on and completing, and feel like I've accomplished something. And it doesn't work to read the books, because it's like I'm enjoying reading them. I'm keeping a semi-steady schedule, and it feels good. So I mean, that's something else that I've gotten myself into the good habit of doing. It's like I try and read at least 5 times a week, sometimes every day if I can swing it. But it really depends, because Tuesday and Thursday I have other things to do, because I cook certain meals on those days. But it's like one of the first things I do when I wake up on Saturday and Sunday is start reading. When I come home from work on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do a little reading in both of the books I'm reading. 2 at a time seems to be a good measure for me. And just like, even if it's just 5 hours a week, it's like that's enough time to read a couple of good books. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And it's like I'm working on ways to organize my novel writing and my short stories, so that hopefully I can get that into some sort of pattern, and not so much just to put myself on official deadlines or something, although every time I try that it usually backfire. But once I get something going, it'll be easier, I think, to keep it going. And just as long as I kind of keep the initial goals small, manageable, not too much pressure, once I get those done, then I can work on tackling bigger things. And this hopefully will lead into consistency and solving the problems that have always plagued me, particularly when it comes to budgeting my time, getting started on certain things. It's like when I had a period towards the beginning of the year where I was working on part of the Winterfall novel series, and it was going great. And I have to say that it was a really relaxing time to write. But when I hit a wall, it just became Anxietyville again. And I want to try and find a way to not have to keep hitting that same wall that I've been hitting for way too long. I know it's possible. I know I can do it. It's been a challenge, but I will get there. As far as the car, I will make, there'll be probably a couple of videos of talking about this. Maybe not necessarily all at once, but we got a 2022 Hyundai Sonata, so here it is right here. And be a separate video that will show off some of the car, some of the interior, and maybe if there's enough material, I might make a video actually talking about the car itself. But insofar as the car goes, as I had an accident a couple of weeks ago. It was not my fault this time, which was nice, but it still resulted in a lot of headaches. But we went through the other person's insurance, and we got that taken care of. We just recently have gotten the payment for our old car, and I sent off the title in the mail. So my previous vehicle, the book is officially closed on that, and the book has now opened on the 2022 Hyundai Sonata, which we now own, which I love, because even though I was planning on buying a new car, ultimately the circumstances just made me come to the decision that I don't feel like waiting 2 weeks for a brand new car when there's a car that's like the same year model that is pretty much has all the bells and whistles that I wanted. The only thing that I might have preferred was for it to have been blue, but considering that it was here now, that it was a good car that fit our needs, and both Ben and I like it, that I said, you know what, let's just do this. And we just decided to go with the first car we looked at, which is the Hyundai Sonata, which is really a great car. I mean, it's like I'm learning more about it as I drive it around. It's comfortable to drive. It's a pleasant vehicle. It looks great. It's great on the inside. It has the new car smell, which is nice. I don't know how long it'll last, but as long as it does, I still like having that weird benefit of buying new or certified pre-owned cars, you know. So, but it's a really nice car. I want to keep it really nice as long as possible. So, you know, plans are for us to get a tool shed for the backyard, stick some of the tools in the garage and that, clear out some of the other stuff in the garage, and actually park the car in the garage and get the garage door fixed so that I can actually go in and out of the garage, um, and get that done. So I guess that's, you know, that's the car. You know, we'll probably have more to talk about in the months and years coming ahead as far as the vehicle, but so far I really like it. It's a nice car, and you know, it was something that we would have planned to do in 2 months, but you know, as we all know, you know, sometimes you don't get to choose your circumstances, and you know, the question could be, it's like, would this car have been here in 2 months if we had gone shopping? You know, maybe we wouldn't have ended up with the same thing, but I'm happy with it. I'm looking forward to it, and it's a good car. So, you know, stay tuned for the separate video that we'll be talking about, you know, my Hyundai Sonata when we get a chance to show that off. And, you know, if you're on my Patreon, I'll probably, you know, list that video there, you know, much earlier than you would see, you know, kind of like you do with most of my stuff. But, you know, I'm working on all that. As far as the books I'm reading right now, I am in the middle of the autobiography of Catherine Janeway, which was a gift from Spectre Fox, which so far has been entertaining. It's been particularly interesting to read about this part, you know, before we met the character in the pilot, you know, her childhood and her early history in the academy, which is what I really was looking forward to. And so far it's a good book. You know, I'll say that I think that it's heading towards a positive review. Una McCormick has written a lot of good Star Trek books before, so I'm looking forward to reading the rest of it. I think 2/3 of the way through it, so I expect to finish it relatively soon. I still have to finish the script for Signal. I did finish reading it, but I just haven't finished writing the book review for it because I just haven't gotten around to it. But I will do that eventually. But it's not a huge pressure to do that because, you know, there's not much to write, but it's just, you know, I'll say that I liked it, but I kind of, I guess, I don't know. There was something about it just didn't hit me quite like I was expecting. Maybe it was because so many of the characters that Jack met along the way didn't survive. I mean, that kind of thing kind of just, I guess, depresses me a little. Um, and, you know, not that you can expect everybody to survive in a post-apocalyptic drama. God knows they don't in mine. But I don't know. It's just. I guess maybe it's because of the intimacy of how you run into these characters, get to know them, and then they pass on, and he moves on, and you know, something like that. But also, I'm reading The Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking, which so far is a really good book. It's a quirky novel written by Ursula Vernon, who goes by T. Kingfisher for this particular pen name. And you know, so far it's really good. I'd have to say that I like it, that it's worth reading. And, you know, for the title and cover alone, I mean, the cover's fairly simplistic, but it has a gingerbread man with a sword on it, which kind of amuses me. And, you know, I'd have to say that so far I am really liking it. So, you know, we'll see how it turns out, but I have high expectations for that one as well. You know, after I finish these two, I'm probably going to start on the next Star Trek book that I have, and maybe crack into the Red Vixen Adventures. I know I still have to finish Always Grey in Winter, but it's on the, you know, it's on the stack. Let's see, what else was there? I know that eventually, probably I think not too far in the near future, another Firefly book will also pop up on my list, the latest one. I have to read the Glass Empires, which is also a Star Trek book that I want to check out. So, I mean, a lot of things on the pile, but, you know, I'm trying to keep it manageable. So, you know, I know that I should finish with Janeway and with baking probably next week or so, and then it'll be time to move on to, I guess, the next Star Trek book or two. I have, let's see, or I guess the next Firefly book, because you know, I want to kind of keep my Kindle to, you know, 2 pending books, maybe 3. You know, kind of also one like off. I don't know, just not too many books at a time. Just like 2 to 4 maybe in my reading pile, because I don't want to have that thing where it's like there are all these books on my to be read pile. So, you know, I'm working my way through them, but we have a bunch left to go, I guess. But other than that, I mean, I know there's supposed to be a Strange New Worlds book coming out next year, but it'll be a while before we get to that. But I mean, I'm looking forward to catching up and keeping up, because it definitely helps me a lot with focus, with keeping on to things, with feeling like things are accomplished. And I've also come to realize one of the things that I guess is kind of a pseudo issue for stuff that I've been trying to release, and we'll work on that and see if we can't improve that process as well, because I think a lot of it is mentality. It's like how much it feels like you have to do what you're working on, breaking it into manageable chunks and all that kind of thing. um, I guess the last thing to talk about is Star Trek Las Vegas is less than 2 months away. Pretty much everything is more or less in place. I'm just waiting for a couple of final decisions to be made. Um, I'm kind of waiting to see if anybody else pops up in terms of the guests that will be there. But provided that no significantly new alterations come up, I have our list settled. I'm hoping that nobody cancels, or at least nobody in any appreciable degree cancels. Last year there was a flood of cancellations in the months coming up to the con, and I think it was a combination of two things: professional commitments for a lot of the Discovery actors, and also the fact that they had, that COVID was still a concern for a lot of people. I know it still is, but at least now it feels like it's manageable, and perhaps less of an issue than it would have been a year ago. Now that everybody is, most people are vaccinated. A lot of people young ages can get vaccinated. So I'm hoping that at least is under control and that we're closer to normal. But time will tell. I mean, I have no control over what happens, but all I can say is that we're going to be there, that it'll be fun, that it's a break I need, and hopefully I will have some good news. At some point, I guess I will get around to talking a little bit more in depth about our plans for the convention. Probably not too much longer, because it's I want to have the pre-game interview, so to speak, before we get to the con. But I guess that's it for now, so I'll catch you all later.
Thanks for watching. If you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. See you next time.